We're live.
We are live. What is up, everybody? We got 24 people. Give it a second for people to trickle in. What's going on?
I feel like I'm dressed like The Rock right now a little bit. You know The Rock when he's got the belt and the turtleneck and the chain.
It's kind of nice.
I'm feeling kind of Rock-esque today.
What is that hat?
It's Charlie Crockett. He's like a bluegrass singer, nice. But he played Chateau Saint Michel and around here. But he's a great country bluegrass singer. If you guys can hear us, let us know. Make sure.
Yeah, let us know how that audio is. If we're coming through all right, or if it sounds bad, definitely let us know. So we can fix it.
Exactly.
But thank you for tuning in to another live show. We're excited to lay down another one. It's going to be
Oh, you know what? It might be. Go click your settings, and then go to audio on your left-hand side there. There we go. And then change that from that one to line.
Okay, that's going to be better now. That's going to sound so much better.
Are they going to be able to hear us?
Audio's dimmer left. There we go. Yeah, they'll be good. Let's do this. All right.
Why am I not seeing anything in the chat here?
I don't know. The chat doesn't seem to be working here, which is weird. Oops. But that's fun. Thank you, StreamYard, for that. That's incredible.
That was me. Hold on. Let me see if it's because I don't see anyone in
the chat is here. It just for some reason we can't pull it up on our like little stream thing, which is super fun.
Right, we're gonna have to fix that. We are gonna have to fix that.
I don't know how to do
it. Maybe if it's
we can still read. We can see.
We can still read him, but we got to be able to put him on the screen. What the hell?
Yeah, that's true.
What the hell? Why is there no chat?
Is it because it's it thinks it's private right now? Oh, here we go. Wait, here we go.
Oh, here we go. See, that's why. Oh, wait. I still don't see it.
Well, give us some chats. Give us some chats, folks.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. All right.
What was going on there?
We fixed it. It was just a silly little error on Ari's part.
All right. What is up, everybody? Welcome in. Thank you, as I was saying, for tuning in to another live stream. We're excited to lay this one down. This is a big one. Craig Waibel, as you are probably aware, had a press conference. Jesús Ferreira had a press conference. I was on those press conferences, and we're going to be reacting to them tonight, and we're going to be bringing on Niko Moreno.
Yeah.
Noah, if you could send Niko the call-in link,
oh yeah,
we may as well get him in right off rip here.
Should we start with just promoting the what we have right up here first, if you want to?
Yes. Our friends, our good friends over at Happy Foot, Sad Foot, great LAFC podcast we've collabed with before, are raising money for wildfire relief. So definitely you scan that QR code, right? And you can just
the links in the description as well.
Links in the description. It's a GoFundMe for wildfire relief. And our plan also is to donate.
We donated $100.
We donated $100, and then we were going to toss some super chat proceeds.
Yeah,
away as well. So if you do a super chat tonight, it'll be for a good cause. Did we set a goal or anything?
We don't have a goal,
but anyway, yeah, definitely donate to the Happy Foot, Sad Foot GoFundMe, and our thoughts are definitely with them and everybody who's been affected by what's going on down there.
Yeah, they're great guys. And if you go on our Instagram right now, Travis did a little message for us, and they're great guys. They're raising money for basically people who are displaced, and all the money goes directly to the charity. They don't even touch it. So they're just fundraising on behalf of all of them. But it's a good cause, and my day-to-day work is in news, so I've literally been seeing all of this all day long, and wanted to find a way that we could help, and this is how we're doing it. So we'll have the QR code up most of the stream. Probably not in this massive form. We'll have it up in the corner over here eventually. But yeah, so super chats, we'll donate some of that money because we don't get like the whole super chat, but and then if you want to just directly donate, obviously scan the QR code, or there is a link in the description. So go ahead and do that. And Ian, hope our friends at Happy for Savage Arcade, despite their terrible Jordan Morris takes. Correct. Exactly.
So yeah, that's one reason to super chat. Another reason to super chat that I was going to bring up, irrespective of this. I was like going through our last live stream, doing some self-critique and stuff and just seeing how it all looked and went. And I was realizing that like when I was looking at the chat archive, there's a lot that either like I didn't like, they got scrolled past, or I just straight up didn't see. So, and there was a few of them where I was like, that would have been a good question or topic of conversation. And I just literally didn't see it. So the way to avoid that is to make it a super chat. We're guaranteed to see it and put it on the screen. So I'm just saying, no obligation.
You'll have to
throwing that out there.
You'll have to text Niko. I don't have his number still for some reason, but I texted you the link.
Where? Okay. 1 second here as we get Niko on.
It's we're live, folks. That's the beauty of live. We are.
Okay, Niko is got a 8:30 out. So.
All right, we'll get him on as soon as possible.
All right, we are waiting.
Should we start with this one while we wait?
We have to get your take on the rumor of Denny Bwanga maybe transfer. Have you heard about this? No,
I didn't hear about this.
Brando, give us the
you give us the scoop, Brando.
The tea on that. I haven't seen any Bwanga transfer rumors. I will say, there was, remember at the end of last season, there was some rumblings that he might be on the outs there, and then that did not happen, and they re-signed him. But it wouldn't shock me necessarily. I think he's definitely a player that could play in a lot of leagues.
Yeah.
So
no joke.
But yeah, tell us what the exact rumor is there, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. Yeah, we're going to talk about Kim Ki-hee at some point, but we want to start with these press conferences. And there he is. We got him. Niko Moreno. What's up, man? Can you hear us?
Let's give us a thumbs up. All right, you ready to go? Can we add you to the All right, here we go.
Let's go.
Niko Moreno.
There he is, folks, the one and only Niko Moreno, our friend from Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart. Niko.
The hardest working man also
the hardest working
media. You dude, I don't think
Niko, all right, everybody. We got Niko for 30 minutes here. So feel free to submit your any questions you might have for him. But Niko, well, first of all, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? No, just excited to be on, and I got an hour, so it's on y'all. When we want to go. Yep.
Okay,
yep.
That's fantastic because we have a lot to get to with these press conferences. I think I wanted to mainly spend time on the Craig Waibel press conference because he broke a lot of news.
You did.
We also we got some good questions in there to him. I think you asked him a couple. I got one in. And I think we learned stuff that we didn't know previously, for sure, from that presser. Regardless of what people thought of it, there was definitely a lot of news. But so, Noah, are you able to pull up the video? I was going to play some of these answers, and then we can give our takes. Do you have that link?
Yep, I'm working on it.
All right,
working on it.
We're gonna have that video up in a second, but some of the topics that we're going to be going over this evening.
Did you want me to just start at your first link here?
Yes. So Craig Waibel confirmed the Jordan Morris designated player escalator. So Jordan will be a DP for this upcoming season based on hitting those contract incentives. So Craig Waibel, he talked about that, and he gave the rationale for why he put those contract escalators in, and just his thoughts on Jordan hitting them and just that whole situation. So Craig Waibel, take it away.
I'll take one step back and then I'll directly answer. So I'm not going to dance around it. I promise, Jeremiah. 2 years ago, when we were re-signing Jordan Morris, there was a relatively tense moment where he was confident that he belonged as a designated player. And my communication style is it's to be very honest. And what I appreciate about our players is they communicate very honestly with me. So when he came in and made the statement that he felt he deserved designated player status, the conversation we had was, you average 9 to 12 goals a year. That is nearly DP status numbers, but it's not. And so we will give you the opportunity, if you re-sign as a TAM player, to earn a designated player title. And so we set a goal contribution, so goals and assist contribution number that exceeded not just a 1-year total, but it more than doubled any 2-year total he had ever had. And, all credit to Jordan, because he's gone out over the last 2 years and proven that he was right. And so Jordan is one of the DPs. We haven't shared publicly yet, but I'll just share it with you. So I apologize to Alex.
All right. So that confirmed what I think we already knew, but I thought it was interesting that he gave us a little window right there into how the negotiation went. This is stuff that we didn't know, that Jordan, during their contract extension negotiation a couple years ago, was making the case that he should be a DP. And Craig Waibel said, no, not quite. You're averaging 9 to 12 goals a year. DP level is slightly above that. And he gave him the chance, like, if you can go out there and you can hit the numbers that merit DP production, then we'll give it to you. And Jordan went out there in the last 2 years and he did it. I think it was 30 goal contributions in league play or all comps.
All comps is what I had heard.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure you're right. It was all comps. So Jordan exceeded that, and he got the DP on these contract escalators. So what I wanted to talk about here is, I guess, just first of all, what do we think of this notion of the contract escalator? That's not something I knew that the team was doing, but they did it with Jordan. And then also Craig Waibel said that they're doing it with Jesus Ferreira. Niko, I'll toss it to you to start. Just what are your thoughts on that whole part of the negotiation to begin with, that they gave Jordan these incentives that allowed him to basically earn his way into TP status as opposed to signing it when he was extended a couple years ago?
Yeah, a couple of things come to mind. I mean, the first is that we had been hearing rumors, at least myself, in terms of the hallways and the birdies about Jordan Morris wanting a DP deal a while back. And I was always curious why that never ended in anything going wrong or, any sort of issue. And now we know. Now we understand that there was clearly a moment where I think, and this is something we don't know at this time, was it Craig and Garth at the time? Was it just Craig? Because he says 2 years ago. That puts us in 2022. And depending on where in 2022, I'm not really sure who was really running things at the moment. But whatever reason, whoever made the decision, I think it's a reasonable one, right? I mean, if you have a guy like Jordan Morris that has clearly been a contributor, that's clearly one of your best players, that, and I've said this in various shows, he might not be battling for the Golden Boot in league every year, but for the Sounders, he's a pretty big deal when it comes to scoring, when it comes to creating opportunities. So if you need to keep him happy and make him understand, look, at this time, we cannot give you a DP deal. There's DP people obviously already as part of this roster. But if I can put it in your contract that if you meet these metrics, then eventually you can prove to us that you are a DP value, then I think that I have no issues with it, because you're kind of putting the club in a situation where that's the only thing they can give you. And as a club, you're giving a guy an incentive, a reason to go out there and play and be happy, feel valued, and still perform for you. So that I don't have an issue with. At first, I didn't understand it. Now we do. I think that piece that Craig gave us was important because of the way he approached it. I mean, he literally said it was a serious discussion. So, it was something that needed to be done to keep your player at peace. So because of that, I have no issues. Jordan has contributed. Jordan has excelled. What he did last year was as best as I've ever seen him in terms of the 9 position, in terms of what he did out wide. I mean, he did a lot of things differently in a season where there was a lot of things wrong with the team. There was a lot of injuries. So you got to give him his credit. And therefore, I'm okay with how it played out, and especially what triggered putting these clauses into that contract.
One thing to note, this was from Jeremiah. He was live fact checking. He said that it was not all comps, but it was MLS play for those goals.
MLS play, not all
That's
comps.
where he's the man.
Yeah, thanks for the fact check.
Yeah,
Jeremiah.
we put the whole article link. He wrote about it a ton.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Craig Waibel described it as a tense negotiation. I think that kind of indicates that they saw it pretty differently. But I guess, first of all, I think the right thing to say as the GM in that situation is 9 to 12 isn't quite it. It isn't quite it. Like, we're not gonna give it to you based on that. And I'm with you, Niko. Like, the more I think about this, the more I really I don't have an issue with it. Basically, it's just creating a system where guys can earn their money, and I think fair is fair. Techno Gatsby asks, when Craig says 9 to 12 goals is not a DP player, and then they gave him a contract with DP incentive, was he a winger at that time? Easier to hit those numbers as a 9, mistake, or fair is fair? So, yeah, I think that actually is a good point.
Yeah.
He was playing as a wide player at that time, and maybe that was part of his argument, is like, I'm not necessarily playing that position where my numbers are going to look like that as easy. So yeah, I mean, that is a good point, but the way I see it is the what's the word I'm looking for? The barometer that they set for him, the benchmark that they set for him, I think it definitely qualifies as DP level production. If your DP is giving you that production, no one would ever really question it. But a couple people have pointed out that they felt like that benchmark was like a little too low, that they should have made it slightly higher. And I can see that argument. It's like almost the minimum threshold of what qualifies as DP, but to me it definitely qualifies. So yeah, I don't have a problem with it from that perspective. Noah, did you have
but the point of the winger is a big one. I mean, it is my understanding that when these clauses were set, these metrics were put in, and that benchmark that was, the threshold that was going to push you over a DP, that was created under the sense that he was a winger and that he was going to continue to be a winger. So maybe that's why those numbers were as low as they were. They probably felt pretty comfortable with them at the time. And then after everything kind of came about and he ended up being the 9, then perhaps we're a little bit easier. However, I am not going to discredit Jordan for doing what he did and getting those numbers and excelling those numbers. And again, we got to understand that if there is a situation where I'm saying, okay, Jordan is either going to walk or we give him something to stay for, and those were the metrics that kept him, then that's what you got to do, because it would have been a lot harder to have a player that was unhappy, demanding a trade, having to replace him with everything that he has done for this club, what he means to the locker room, what he does on the field. I think it just would have been a worse situation. So I can understand where a GM is saying, I think this is a fair deal. And Jordan betting on himself is also something to applaud him for.
Yeah, I mean, he was pushing to be the 9 for a long time too. So I mean, in his mind, when he was negotiating this contract, he was like, there's always going to be a possibility that I play there. And I think I don't blame Jordan Morris at all for this. I don't think anyone has ever said that. I think everyone is supportive of the progress that he even made playing the 9. And I argued the entire season that he was the one who should be playing the 9. That said, if I was Craig Waibel, I'd be pretty uncomfortable knowing that Brian Schmetzer had decided to completely bench Raul, not play him at all, and that there was this incentive in this contract that was whether he earned it or not, going to make a decision for you. I don't think it's wrong or right. I think that he earned what he earned, and obviously you have to try and negotiate that if you want some kind of space, but it's kind of like it is where it is. I think the Jordan Morris being elevated thing, for me personally, that's less of an issue than a lot of the other things that have happened.
Yeah, and again, especially bringing in the context, and I hope that people watch this and they get informed, and that's why we have a guy like Jeremiah fact checking, because there's a lot of people that create content then don't fact check shit, and they just put out whatever they think that they want to put. And I hope I can say that. My bad. But that's the type of thing that makes this group different. You know, you guys, of course, and I mean, I try to be very careful and mindful of what I put out there. So yes, I mean, having that context, I think, is going to be very important for people to understand what happened and why he's getting that DP deal.
Jake says Jordan Morris hits DP numbers, but he doesn't pass the eye test as a DP. I'm curious what you mean by that, because I felt like the eye test on Jordan was pretty good last year. I don't know, but I mean, I judge it more on production, and also, I mean, you also have to take into account that he scored the biggest goal of the season last year as well, in the biggest moment in the playoffs against LAFC.
I think what's more interesting than all of that discussion is he going to be healthy? Because he played every minute of every single game, and he looked really healthy, and he looked really strong, and it was very clear that was something that he worked on, and it paid off, clearly, but he is aging. He is on the wrong side of 2 bad knee injuries. 2, 3? Two. And, you know, is he potentially?
And that's why I understand people's apprehension on it. And I was apprehensive about it at the time before knowing, like I said, this context. There is a sense of, we never gave Jordan a DP contract before 30. We gave it to him at 30. And we give it to him with, you know, if we don't know the context, right? And we give it to him after 2 knee surgeries. And yes, he had a good season, best he's had of match best he's had, but he did have, I don't know, I think it was a lapse of 14, 15 games where he struggled to score. There was times in the playoffs where the team did not look dangerous, did not look like they could score. That LAFC game, as much as, you know, he had that great goal, in 90 minutes, he was unable to make that goal himself. So all of those things, I can understand where people will criticize. But again, we need to understand that a lot of people get caught up on the DP thing. Let's think of some DPs that have been atrocious. Copetti was atrocious. Ragonia was atrocious. I'll sit here all day and give you guys that were bad. The Soderski is probably below what Jordan Morris has done. There's a whole bunch of DPs that we can mention that just have not been able to make a difference. So is he a lower DP in today's MLS? Yeah, perhaps. You know, he's no Cucho or Benteke or whoever you might love in your heart of what a DP really means, but the fact that he can meet that threshold at the very low bottom of the DP, I think he definitely makes a case for it.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say on this before we move on to the next part of the Waibs presser is, you know, I lost my train of thought completely. No idea.
I mean, I don't know. I think I can end it with saying this is, we're making all of this commentary across the board on all of these players and all these player signings without seeing a single match, without seeing a single thing. You can be angry, and I think that's completely valid. You can be excited, and I think that's completely valid. I think that
absolutely
what we will see happen, we will see happen. Anything can happen. That's the best part about soccer. And, you know, you can, all I'm trying to say is, if you feel happy, awesome. If you feel angry, awesome. We still have a whole season to play. Things can change as it goes.
Okay, I remembered what I was going to say, which is that the reason that I don't have as much of an issue with this as some people do. God, why do I keep forgetting what I'm talking about?
He's not locked in, folks. He is not locked in. Ari, have you tried super chatting? Should we just watch the next section if you pop it off? Okay. All right. Here we go. Craig, back to you. It's like we're on a FaceTime with him.
He'll have a similar opportunity in his contract. He is excited to be here, but we want to incentivize our guys to outperform. And so moving forward, we are set with our designated players. We have Jesus coming in as a non-designated player, which is I think a remarkable feat and something that speaks not just to the situation that he was in or we were in, but to the entirety of our organization, our crowd, our environment, our success over years and years and years. Moving forward, we still have one or two moves to make. I know there's another rumor floating around about Paul Arriola. I'm sure we'll be able to share something in the next 24 to 48 hours there as well. And
is that what you were?
Well, so that part was him talking about how Jesus Ferreira also has those escalators in his contract. So that should theoretically give him even more incentive than he already had to ball out for however long he plays for this team. What I was going to say previously is that the reason that I don't have as much of an issue with the Jordan Morris incentives as some people do is that Jordan Morris has been on this team a long time, and it's been proven that you can compete for and win trophies with him as at least a big part of the roster and a big part of the attack. He's been a part of 2 MLS Cup winning sides. He's been a big part of CONCACAF Champions League winning side. So, I already know that he can bring it at the level needed to compete for and win trophies, which is what I care about. Now, how the rest of the roster functions around that, like Noah said, we're going to have to see, but pretty low on my list of concerns is Jordan Morris producing up to what he needs to next year. I think that's as good a bet as any at this point.
I took a poll of the chat to ask them if they were happy with the Jordan Morris as a DP move. Would you guess which one won out?
I'm guessing they're not happy.
No, it was yes. 60% yes,
wow.
39% no, with 41 votes. I think that's a pretty good sample size. It seems like people are coming around.
Let's hit the U22 spot right there. I think that was one of the biggest parts of this presser. So
Okay.
Play that, and then we're gonna have some fun with that one.
All right, hold on. I'm driving here, guys. I'm trying my best. Producer Noah.
Having moved Leo Chu in this deal, we will regain the ability to go out and bring in a U22 player. We haven't identified a specific position. We have 3 different lists, an attacking list, a midfield list, and a defensive list on that U22 category. But we want to give our coaches some time to work with this group. And with the additions of Paul and Jesus in the attacking half, and one more addition to be made in the defensive half of the field, we want to make sure that our coaches have a lot of input on what they feel the balance of the roster needs.
So yeah, you heard it right there. Leo Chu's departure opens up a U22 spot. So I figured, so he said right there too that they are going to kind of they want to see how the team plays. They want to give the coaching staff a chance to evaluate how everything works before they decide how to use that, which I guess to start off, I think that's the right way to handle it. A lot of times watching the team actually play can inform, it can give you a better idea of what you need to address. But I figured we could still have some fun and give some early thoughts on how we would like to see them ultimately use that spot, just position wise. I guess, Niko, what would you like to see them use that on? And then is that different from what you think they will use it on?
I would like to see an outside back. I think that I've always believed that the best Sounder teams have always had a very good outside back that is very good going forward, whether it was Jovan Jones or it was Brad Smith at times, whether it was Tyron. Well, there's a whole bunch of players that have gone through, that have been able to be out there and have been solid offensively and defensively. I have always and I have a lot of respect for Alex Roldan. I've always been on his side. I got a lot of heat when I thought he should have not been let go, and then he came back and had an all-star season in MLS. But he struggled last season, and I'm not going to shy away from that. I'm very straightforward with my thought process, and he struggled. I think that Nuhu struggles moving forward. He's a lockdown defender, but there's just not enough when he's with the ball and he's pushing on that side. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Reed Baker Whiten after some injuries, after some inconsistencies. Does he go? Do you sell him? I mean, there's a lot of question marks there. Is Cody Baker ready? I mean, I would like to see a U22 player that has all of the potential as an outside back to be there to replace Alex Roldan at one time, or to be your new left back, and you can modify where you play Nuhu. But I really do believe that there is a need for an outside back, and I would use it in a U22 there.
Yeah, I love that. They really have not had an outside back with that type of refined skill set in attack since the Brad Smith trade. And I agree, man. Like, I've been saying really for the last like 2 years now that an outside back in the mold of a Jovan Jones or a Brad Smith would help this team a lot. For whatever people, Brad Smith was not necessarily the most popular sounder. He was very effective going forward and putting those crosses in.
Yeah.
And Nuhu, you know, he, for all the defensive value that he brings, he's not a very good attacking fullback. Alex Roldan has been that. But I think last year that it just wasn't as much of a threat. So yeah, I think I kind of agree that would be 1A on my list based on how the rest of the roster looks. Noah, did you have anything different from that? And also, chat, if you have a wish list for this U22 spot, go ahead and drop it in.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. I don't really care where they sign a U22. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, it's a development spot, and see what you can do. And, you know, if there's someone you can keep in that spot, awesome. If they're, you know, I don't know. I don't really have strong feelings about this, to be honest with you. It doesn't really get me all excited.
See, if you hit, I mean, I don't know, if you hit on one of those though, that's a pretty big leg
I'm
up.
just cautious, okay? Like, I'm just cautious with young players like that, because if you look at the track record, it's,
well, but you can
know,
go through and find the ones that hit. Like, was Dejan Joveljic originally a U22 signing?
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
I think he was.
like that, like the Galaxy cleaned out on that. Like,
Yeah.
so you it can happen.
No, and there's a lot. I mean, you look at Miami, they had Redondo, Diego Gomez, you know, even Facundo Farias, who hurt himself. He's a fantastic prospect. I know that'd be hard to get some of those guys out here because it's not Messi in Miami, but I'm just saying that there is a lot of quality. So I'm with you guys. I mean, you could really go anywhere with it because that is a position where you want to cash in, right? You want to find a diamond in the rough. You want to find a player that's going to, you know, either be a player for your organization for a long time, or you're going to be able to play him 2 years and move him on. So there is a lot of different room. But when you look at the roster, I mean, I'm excited for Georgie, and I'm excited for Pedro de la Vega. So I'm not going to look out wide. I think that in strikers right now, you're married to Pereira for a long time. You want to see what Jordan Morris does. Center midfield is pretty full. Maybe that'd be another place where you could put a U22 and get the next Obed Vargas once Obed leaves. There is Burnell is a guy that is pretty high regarded right now. He's probably going to be a guy that you might be able to fit in there. But having a U22 CM is always good, in my opinion. So there is that thought where Noah's going is that you kind of put him anywhere as long as you go and get a good one.
Yeah.
Well, and that's you know, Johnny brings up a good point here. Joveljic was $4 million. Not sure we would spend $4 million on a U22, and that's where I say I don't know if I'm so excited about the U22 signing being the big move, because I just don't know if which honestly maybe I'm wrong, because look at how much they spent on Pedro de la Vega. Like, that's, you know, but I'm just cautious. I'm a cautious person with young players, to be honest.
No, and that's the Garth way, man. Garth used to tell me, man, I want to get a player that's between 25 and 29. I want him to be proven. I want him to be ready. I want him to have a family. I want him to come in here and just work. You know what I mean? Yeah. At that age, the player has had his ups and downs. There's a tendencies of whether he's a hard worker, whether he's not. Man, the G Master, man, he knew exactly what he was going for. You know what I mean?
the existing U22 on the team now with Leo Chu gone is only Josh Atencio, right? Is that correct? Yeah. So I mean, they have this spot open, and it'll at least be interesting to see what they do with it this summer. No,
I think we should do a straight up trade. Josh Atencio to Manchester United, and we get Rashford. I think that's fair.
fair.
That's a fair trade.
Sign it.
Pull up this next section of the Wibes presser here. This one is related to João Paulo, who is returning to the Seattle Sounders, but Craig Waibel gave a little more insight into that negotiation. So, yeah, take it away, Craig.
Thank you. Now that you kind of brought in the scope of the interview, not to get away
Hey,
from
who's that guy?
Jesus, of course. Are there any news as on JP? I had heard that he was potentially coming back with a 1 year, one option deal. Just wanted to get a little bit on your take on that. And then in terms of Jesus, how comfortable are you that he is your big signing of the 2025 season? And how proud are you of that?
So I can answer your João Paulo question for those of you that didn't catch it there. I think you alluded to a 1 year contract with a 1 year option. That is exactly correct. João will be back with us. I honestly, that for me, it was one of the most important signings to be made this offseason. I think his character is off the charts. I think what he gives our club on and off the field is remarkable. João is exactly what you think he is and how he presents himself. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he is nothing short of just a fantastic person and professional. So I'm over the moon to have João stay with our club, and he made some sacrifices to do that. Very difficult choices that have to be made along the way in careers, and it is remarkable. Again, another sign of what this club and community means to players, that João would make the decision he made. And so I don't want to skip over that, Niko, before I answer the other question. So I wanted to make sure to.
Yeah, so João Paulo coming back and evidently took a significant pay cut in order to do so. So, yeah, I don't want to hear any JP slander. I know a lot of people out there were talking about how they really felt like the Sounders should move off him, and he's past it. I think at this point in his career, he's probably closer to like a replacement level player at that position than like a best 11 player at that position like he previously was. But I mean, with a signing like this, they are taking into account things like the team culture and the locker room, where I'm sure a lot of you who follow the team really closely know this, but I mean, he is very key in that locker room. He's one of the most popular guys on the team. He's a leader on the team. That in itself isn't a reason to keep somebody around, but that's why I was saying stuff like that is why I was saying that I wouldn't mind him coming back at a lower number, and that's the deal that they worked out. So I also said about him potentially coming back is my prediction is there's going to be a point in this season where everyone is very glad that they did this, because it provides you some really solid depth, and he can be cover if guys have to rotate out or miss time, and you're not relying on him as much as they did in previous years. Niko, what are your thoughts on JP coming back on a pay cut?
I thought it was important. I thought it was something that the team needed. When you have a season with as many tournaments as you do, having a guy like João Paulo coming in to be a rotating player, or to God hope this doesn't happen, but if there's an injury and you need somebody to hold off the fort for a couple of weeks, he's the guy that you want. I mean, and people don't understand this, but center midfield, specifically when you're a holding mid, sometimes the age gap is different. It's kind of like goalkeepers. The age is not like your wingers or your forwards. There's a lot of solid, very good center midfielders at 36, 37 years old, and I kid you not. As long as you understand that you got to have a big IQ, you got to understand how to cut the field, how to anticipate passes, how to anticipate movement, how to be a guy that's going to distribute better, that's going to make sure that every time he touches the ball is on a positive. Those are things that he has. And we are kind of blinded by the Paulo that came in after a really rough injury. It takes time for you to get your body right, to get your mentality right, your verticality, and then your horizontal movement. I think that JP this year is going to be a lot better than what you saw at the end of last season. So that alone makes me excited, not to mention everything you just said about him in the locker room, about him being a guy that's got the grit, that has the determination, that has embodied a little bit more of that aggressiveness here lately, because I feel like in MLS wasn't as aggressive as he was in Botafogo. I think this season you're going to see a lot of that South American type of soccer from JP. And when you're going into international tournament, where you're going playing Leagues Cup and all of these tournaments, having a guy like that is going to be very important.
Yeah, I had a similar thought, which is that, yes, he is a year older, but he's also another year removed from that knee injury, which, like, an injury like that, sometimes it takes like that much time to really get back to your full self. So I agree that there is a chance for an outcome where JP actually has a bounce back year and at least looks closer to that best 11 player that he was at his peak. And, really the man gave his ACL so the Sounders could win Champions League, and he's coming back on a pay cut. So,
and like he loves you guys. He loves this team. He loves this city, man. I mean, he's taking a pay cut. He could have gone somewhere else. He could have gone to Brazil and made more money. I guarantee you that. But he wanted to stay. He really became embedded with the DNA of the Pacific Northwest. He loves it out here. Family loves it. And I want that guy every day of the week and twice on Sundays. I mean, that's a guy I want on my team. He's someone that's gonna really feel that badge and bleed those colors.
Yeah, and just so everyone understands, like, it definitely not every club that's able to do stuff like these moves where you get Jesus Ferreira as a non-DP, and then you also have a player like JP who is really like just willing to stay here for way less money just because he loves the club and loves the city like that much. Like, not every club like has the ability to do that. And Craig Waibel did talk about that in his press conference when he was talking about Jesus Ferreira, which he said, we were relying on like the reputation and the consistency, right? I mean, that stuff pays dividends in when you're building your roster. All right, let's hit this. This was a good part of it that I was not necessarily expecting. Josh Atencio with a little position change. Let's see what Craig Waibel had said about that.
Adding depth to that back line.
Yeah, I think we need to. However, I may as well share it. One of the things we'll be taking a very serious look at is transitioning Josh Atencio into the center back position. If you really deep dive into his profile, I think that our staff believe he has the potential to be elite. He is extremely athletic. He's very good facing the field. His range of distribution, his speed, his turn, recovery speed, but also the way he reads the game. That'll be one of the things we take a very, very serious look at, and have a lot of belief that.
Yeah, so that's I'm interested to watch that. I think that's been brought up by people before. Because he played CB in for the academy and for Defiance a little bit, I believe, and when he was coming up as a prospect, I think there was sort of like a fork in the road where it was like, is he a CB? Is he a midfielder? They ended up making him a midfielder. But I think his physical profile and what Craig Waibel mentioned with his range of passing and also just his defensive abilities in work rate, I could see it. Who knows if it's gonna work? But I kind of like that they're trying this.
Yeah, and look, this is something that I think some of us knew. I had talked about it on Thursdays with Niko the week before on Soccer Down Here, because I had heard a little bit more of a stronger emphasis on that this year for him, because obviously you got rid of Nathan. you probably going to bring in a lower end veteran at that CB position, but you needed to replace that because Stu may or may not be ready to get a lot of minutes. I want to see him, I really do, but I don't want to put so much on the kid that still has some growing up to do, still got some body to kind of develop and things like that. So Atencio just fits right in. And look, I'll tell you guys right now, the very first time I heard the name Josh Atencio was from one Roman Torres. And I had asked him, hey, who's interesting at practice? Who do you think is a guy that's someone you're watching? I said, man, this guy Josh Atencio, he's going to be a hell of a center back. And that was before he started going with that maybe new sense of playing midfield. But Roman was sure that Atencio was going to be this great physical, fast, strong, smart center back. So it's kind of interesting, funny that we're doing a full circle now on that, and he might get a chance there now. But yeah, he has the ability. I am concerned about timing and triggers and just getting used to it. Look, I have no doubt Josh can do it, but I also have no doubt that he's not going to like that. Josh, if I can see into what he likes to play, he likes to get forward. And even when he was playing holding mid, he wanted to get forward, wanted to score, wanted to shoot. So I don't know how happy he's going to be with this move, but I definitely think he can do it.
If they can pull it off, I mean, CB is a more premium position, I think, than that 6 or 8 role that they've kind of been playing him in. So
more minutes.
I think it's worth like trying just for that reason to see if it works, because if it does work, then you've kind of finessed something there.
Well, and it's not like I'm not saying that this is every situation, but there are situations where you want a guy who wants to look forward, who will take an opportunity to pounce on a counter or a break or something like that. If you're playing like 3 in the back or, with wing backs, like that's an opportunity where he can use that skill set. And, I mean, I played winger a lot because when I played, I loved to run. I could run all the time. And then they would stick me at CB. And it was like, I hated it at first. And then I grew to love it because it's way more of a mental game. It slows you down. But when you have those opportunities to move forward, you could still take them. It's just, making the right time. And I'm interested to see this change. Also, if Roman is saying it, he has a tattoo of himself on his body. That's like, he knows everything, dude. That's the man.
Yeah. I mean, and this was a long time ago. That's when he was like really, that Roman Torres of, being a trainer every time, always talking to the kids, and so he knew his stuff. And to your point, in today's MLS, having a center back that can push forward does a lot of things. And you see it. You saw it with Murillo in LAFC last season, and then how much it hurt him when Murillo was out. You saw it a lot in DC United with several center backs. I mean, it's a thing where if your center back has the space and he can take that space and get forward, make a good pass. I remember Javi doing it, but Javi was just kind of scary when he was up there. But Javi would do it, right? He was a gambler, right? So he would push and get up there. But having a guy like Josh that has the duality play, I mean, I think that's exciting.
Set pieces too, getting him up on those. He may not be like a tall presence, but if he's got that finishing ability, you stick him in a post, and it's an option. If you are the Sounders and you're like, we need more attacking options, people are like, well, why are you so excited about a CB? Well, if it's a CB who has some potential to kind of move forward or has the mind of a player who wants to move the ball forward, that's a good thing.
Okay, this next part of the Craig Waibes presser, this was my question to Craig Waibes. I asked him one question. I'll give you guys a little insight into why I asked what I asked, and then we'll show you guys.
He didn't forget his question.
The exchange, which is that Pedro de la Vega. I wanted to ask about Pedro de la Vega because the way I see it is a lot of his plan for this roster and this team really hedges on that, and it did not go well last year. I think everyone knows that. So basically, what I asked him was, what gives you confidence that we're going to see a leap with this player from year 1 to year 2? And I figured his answer would illuminate basically why he believes that this team is going to take a leap with Pedro de la Vega as a contributor. And he actually, I thought it was a decently illuminating answer. So, Noah, here's my exchange with Craig Waibel.
All right, Ari, over to you.
Hey, Craig, thanks for the time. So obviously last year was a really difficult year for Pedro de la Vega. I'm curious from your perspective, for him to take a leap from year 1 to year 2, I mean, is it just as simple as staying healthy, or what gives you confidence that he's set up to take that leap this year? Well, what gives me confidence is history. You know, there's always the running narrative that the international players that come in this summer, it's going to take them 6 months to acclimate. You know, they'll be good next year. They'll be at their best. You know, Pedro's seen it. He knows what to expect. He left for the offseason knowing what to expect. There were some good guidelines written out for him by our performance and medical groups. The expectations laid out from the coaches. So, you know, I think it was an unfortunate year, frankly. You know, Jesus had a couple injuries last year down in Dallas. Pedro had a couple injuries last year up here. Sometimes this happens, you know, and we can speculate and we can theorize, and we've done it. We've got all our theories as to why, and we're trying to prevent injuries happening again, because it wasn't fun for him. He certainly would be the first to tell you that. So, yeah, you know, we need contribution. Attacking contribution. And we started to see it at the end of the year when he got healthy. I think there were moments in the playoff games where he dribbled out of situations. And because we haven't had that profile of player recently, if you go back and watch the video, it actually surprises his teammates that he gets out of a couple of situations. So much so that they weren't even moving proactively to receive the next pass. You know, he spun out of a couple situations in a deeper line midfield role and then looked for the next pass, and it wasn't there because I think he surprised his teammates a little bit. So I think as he plays more, as he trains more, obviously that familiarity comes in, but the expectations are clearly set. And, you know, I'm not gonna speculate today on what we're gonna see from him, but I know he has zero interest in a repeat of last year. I do know.
What do you think? You guys buying it?
I buy it. But there is a couple of things, right? I mean, first of all, I have no doubt that as long as healthy, Pedro La Vega is going to have a great year. And if not statistically, simply being the guy that makes defenses collapse on him, breaks lines of pressure, is a guy that is a headache for every single defense, and creates and opens up spaces for Ferreira and Jordan Morris. Creates space and opens up for Obed Vargas to run a channel. That is what he's going to do, because as someone that's in practice just about every day, there isn't one day in practice that you don't like open up your eyes at 1, 2, 3, 4 plays throughout practice, whether it's a shot, a pass, a dribble, a move. I mean, the guy has the talent. He looks like a DP. He didn't prove that, and he did not meet expectations last year because he wasn't able to be out there. But when he was, man, I think he's a difference maker. He is a guy that is unlike any other player in this roster because of his ability to dribble through things. So I agree with Craig in the fact that he doesn't want a repeat of this season. I think that he's going to be more calm, less pressure to, at times he wanted to overperform, and that urgency really led him to bad passes, bad moments, looking even worse than he already was, trying to get back in fitness. So this year, I believe that he's going to be better. Can he stay healthy? That's the biggest question, but I do like a big bounce here for Pedro. But the one thing I wanted to mention is that the odd part of it is that because now you're bringing all these players, there are certain formations where Pedro is kind of the odd man out. If you go 3-man back line, he's kind of the odd man out. If you go, if you stick with the 4-2-3-1, it's fine. Maybe in a 4-4-2 diamond, he can still be out there, but then you got to choose between him and Obed. So that's the part where I'm hoping that there is a game plan to put Pedro in a situation to succeed and not forget about it just because now you need Ferreira to perform and you need certain players to be out there, and he doesn't get the short end of the stick.
I'm scared about his passing. I think it needs to get a lot better in a short amount of time. I mean, and maybe that is pressure. Maybe that is just pressure, but I thought his lack of picking his head up when he was looking for some of these long balls, and maybe like, I think that what Craig is saying here about basically the formation and the system that they were playing was not set up for a player of his archetype. That's true.
Well, I think he meant more that his teammates weren't used to that archetype, and so
I agree.
Adaptation.
That's fair.
Like they just were not. They didn't have chemistry yet, and I think
I don't want to
we all
mischaracterize
saw
that. I just there was some times where I was like, okay, like I hope that it's just his confidence and not, just something else. Not.
No, it is that as well. I mean, what Ari just said is important. I mean, there were times in practice where he would argue sometimes with even Freddy Juarez, and it was like, hey man, I wanted the ball here, and he's having a discussion with the player, and Freddy's like, no, well, we're playing it over there, and he's like, man, but I read this space. So there are intricacies of a player's way of play that need some time to adapt with your team, right? Because next year, now they're going to know where Pedro wants it, or if there's a moment where there's a structural series of passes, maybe Pedro might be out here and we need to find him there. And those are situations that will get better by simply association and simply having a full preseason with his team and actually getting to know the players closely.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, that's a big deal. And I think with the addition of Ferreira and with this season under his, I mean, literally the worst possible season that he could have in his entire career happened. I mean, injured, just not finding it, not feeling it, looking great in practice from everything that I've heard, and then it just not translating on the field. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's grow up. That's some grow up shit. That's some put your pants on. It's time to be a player now. And someone said here, I want to believe Pedro de la Vega, but he's about to turn 24. Career high is 4 goals scored in one season. Hard to see he turns into a game changer next season, but I want to believe. I mean, it is going to be interesting to see, but he went through the gutter. Like, he's on the upswing, and you learn a lot when you're in the gutter.
One thing I was thinking about with this is that, he had 2 goals waved off last year, one of which was one of the best goals anyone on the team scored all season in Leagues Cup, which I believe got waved off on an obstruction call, but it was an unbelievable shot. And then he also scored a goal in the Timbers game on an offside call. That was the guy, he was like 0.2 millimeters offside. It was one of those calls where it just as easily could have gone the other way. You change those 2 things, I think we're having a little bit of a different conversation. And I know those goals didn't count, but I do think, I mean, the Leagues Cup, the one in Leagues Cup, you saw like something that he has in his bag that not a lot of people necessarily have. And then the Timbers one, it was a poacher goal where he was just like right in front of the goal, but he got himself into a great spot, and he almost had a huge goal in a derby game that would have completely changed the complexion of that game. So it's worth considering. I think, if those 2 goals counted, we're still talking about a disappointing season, but not as like disastrous as it turned out to be.
Should we finish up here before Niko has to go?
I had one more segment of this presser here. Niko, are you good to stay on for this?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. This was about Albert Rusnak.
Your question.
Thank you, Craig. I do want to thank you for being so open with all this information. And with that in mind, I wanted to ask if you could share anything in regards to the extent of Albert's contract and what those conversations were like with him coming in from his best season ever, I think, in MLS.
Well, I've known him a long time. So for those on the call that don't know, I brought him to the league when I was at Salt Lake, when he was a pretty good young pro in Holland. And I've kind of watched him grow into, and I think I might have been the least surprised that he had a career year in the last year of his contract last year, because I know how stubborn Albert is. And so the conversations were actually, very open, very direct. It's nice to know a player that long. It's nice to get on with a player that long. We offered Albert a longer term deal than he ended up signing. But he felt that coming off his best year, that he felt he deserved designated player status. And I will be honest, that's really hard to disagree with. To take one step back, when you go into these negotiations, it's not just what's sitting in front of you. Obviously, the past tells a little bit in predicting the future, but we have two guys that over the last 2 seasons, so my 2 years and theoretically in charge here, but over the last 2 seasons, Jordan and Albert are tied for 20th in goal contributions in the league individually. So 2 guys that contribute at a ridiculously high rate. Jordan, the balance is different. Obviously, Jordan is actually in the top 10 for goal scorers over the last 2 seasons. Albert, not in the top 10 for goal scorers, but obviously has a lot of assists. So these are 2 players that, frankly, when you look at it statistically, when you look at it on paper, and when you look at what they mean for the group, he had some leverage, frankly. And so he'll sign a multi-year deal. He'll be a designated player, and I love it. I love that Jordan and Albert earned the right to walk into my office and say, I respect what you're offering me. I appreciate what you're offering me, but I deserve X. And when you have guys that achieve on the field the way these guys have achieved and what they give to our club, wonderful problems to have. And
Niko, thoughts on the little window we got into the Albert Rusnak negotiation right there? Interesting that it sounded like another kind of tense one.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to know. And look, in this press conferences, I like it when we all are trying to find information like this, and that's not always the case, and we all get one question here and there. And I'm not going to lie to you, I really played an audible in all of my questions because I saw a chink in the armor of Craig Waibel during his press conference, and I felt like he was going to be very open. And he's a very transparent guy, but I felt like in this one he was going to give us a lot. So that's why I kind of switched it there. I mean, I had reported in another show that Albert was going to get that 2+1 deal. He didn't go so far into that, but he did end up telling us what I had been saying is that Albert had all the leverage going into this negotiations because he's coming from the best year of his career. Because look, quite honestly, as a guy that has always realized that as much as Albert Rusnak was brought in to be Niko's replacement, he's no Niko. He's just not that type of player, but he is a very good player. He's a playmaker. He is a guy that has given Seattle a threat from set pieces that they haven't had in a long time. That is very important for any team, and something that a lot of us had criticized from the Seattle Sounders, and he's been able to execute that. He's been good on both sides of contributing assists, contributing goals, 30+ contributions. I'm not going to shy away from here, sitting in front of your audience and letting you know that the Seattle Sounders are, in my opinion, more willing to get players that are not going to cost them transfer fees, because I'm not sure if the budget is there, and as I've
Just
said before,
say it, Niko.
They're fearful a little bit of just paying that transfer fee because the money's just not there, in my opinion. The money's just not there. So they're not going to be able to say, look, Albert, either take a TAM deal or take a hike. And if you don't take it, then I'm going to go ahead and go 14 million for Miguel Almiron, and we're going to bring him here and he's going to be great. Or I'm going to go to Austin and try to get Jerusi because he's sick of it over there. Or I'm going to just, I don't know, want to get fans in the stands and I'm going to get James Rodriguez who's a free agent. I mean, whatever that they wanted to do, I feel like this was the safe bet because he's a proven commodity in your locker room, in your system, with your coach. So why not pay him the salary and not have to worry about having to get out there and pay a big transfer fee? So now that I'm kind of getting to the end of my segment with you guys here, I love, by the way, your ambition mirometer and the thing that you did. But I think that the ambition component for me doesn't always equal winning and success. And Seattle, although not the most ambitious, they are the most successful. And they've done it because they are conservative and they are smart with their moves and their money. They don't have the open wallet that Arthur Blank or the Moss brothers have down in South. So you need to be very cautious of where you put that money at. And having a guy like Albert that, like Craig said, look, we wanted to give him a longer contract, probably for less money, but he's like, nah, man, I got to strike where the iron's hot. I got to get paid. And I got to, I brought it. Now you bring it. So there is no shame in Albert's game, and I'm not going to criticize him for it. And I think Seattle did the right thing, understanding their situation and their reality. And there's nothing wrong for me to sit here and tell you guys, maybe Seattle's not ambitious, but they know what the hell they're doing. I mean, Craig Waibel, he's cooking right now. And you might not see it, you might not like it, it might not be fine dining, but I feel like the opening slate is going to be pretty good.
Will hit. A Dick's Deluxe will hit.
Hey man, absolutely right. That's exactly what's happening here. Is he and I thought he was very honest when he said, "My job is to make this team better with what I have," and this is what he has. He once again has a little bit of limitations because of the DP contract for Jordan. He has limitations because of the budget. So he's putting together a pretty good team, if you ask me, on paper, right now. I actually think it's a pretty good team, and it is better than last season. Don't get it wrong. It is a better team than last season because you raised the floor to a point where the worst game of 2025 is not going to be even close to the worst game that you had in 2024. So with all that said, going back to the main point of Albert Rusnak, man, I'm not mad at it. And again, this is one of those things where if you're unhappy with it, oh man, chill. I get it. I understand it. He's not Buanga. He's not Almiron. He's not all these guys, Cucho, Rossi, whoever it is that you like. He's not that guy. And so if you see that as a DP, cool, man, don't worry. But the guy's been working, and he's been working for you. He looked pretty good last year with all of the things that happened wrong for this team, where maybe they weren't as ambitious by just letting $3 million of Raul Ruiz sit on your bench, $1.6 million of JP sit on your bench, 500 plus of Leo Chu sit on your bench. They got to a Western Conference final with all that. So now, with all these extra pieces, man, the future is bright, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's hard to argue that he didn't earn it in terms of how he produced last year. And when I think of what you need, like the attributes you need in a DP, you need the stat sheet production, but you need something that makes the player unique, makes them special. And with Albert Rusnak, I think it's set pieces. I mean, he was absolutely lights out on those last year. And like you mentioned, it was that was refreshing because the Niko years with set pieces, like, obviously, Niko's the greatest sounder of all time. His set pieces were pretty hit or miss. And Rusnak is just nails on those. He was in the 99th percentile in goal creating chances off of set pieces. I mean, you cannot deliver a ball any better than that. So that's been a huge X factor that I think really that's something that he brings that only 2 or 3 other guys in the league bring at the level that he does. And then also, is his as a facilitator, is he like top level? No, but I think he's pretty damn good. He has really good vision. He can hit those.
Him and
through
Jordan
balls.
had some really great games together. So I
Yeah.
think that he definitely is able to facilitate a game. I've seen it happen.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, like who's the number one best passer in the league right now? You know,
Messi.
I wouldn't.
See,
Yeah, he's not
Ricky.
messy with the dimes, but he is a very good dime disher, and he's elite on set pieces. And like you mentioned, though, there was a stretch last year where he and Jordan looked like one of the best 1-2 punches in the league. It was a relatively small sample of that, but that stretch they were blazing hot. Sounders EBFG, thank you for the super chat. I have a question regarding transfers. If Apple is willing to pay, why do we settle for MLS caliber players as reinforcements? I think you're referencing when like the money that Apple put towards the Messi deal, which off the top of my head, I think that's the only like example of that, which was
No, it's because I think they're referring to when, you know, the Clean Dempsey deal, and maybe not Apple, but MLS at the time, obviously. But look, those times are gone now, and the only reason why Apple and MLS and every owner that's part of this entity we call MLS got behind the Lionel Messi thing is because you were bringing the best player of the last decade into your league. So of course you're going to go out there and bring him, and that's the reason why you did that. So look, and God, I don't know if this has anything to do, and I'm not even going to bring it up, but the Rashford thing opened up a door of people that had a whole bunch of delusional concept of things that are never going to happen. So yes, Messi's unique. Messi and probably Cristiano Ronaldo will be the only other guy that you might go out there and get a similar deal to. Everybody else is just an earthy person. They're not looked above earth. They're not, no, that it's CR, it's Cristiano Ronaldo, is Messi, and everybody else. So that's the only time you're going to see any Apple or MLS influencing going and get a guy.
Well, so you don't see any scenario where like they swoop in like that with the rationale of strengthening their Club World Cup teams? Like, no. Because people were talking about that.
You were talking about that. I was trying to tell you.
No, it makes no sense, especially for the Sounders when there's no DP spots open. I mean, there'd be nowhere to put him in. I mean, that was the funny part about, look, and I don't know the reporter. Apparently, he's a really good guy. He has, you know, he could be the best reporter, but there was a lot of his stuff that he was saying that was inconsistent, or maybe he wasn't informed enough about it. But everything about potentially the Sounders looking for him in January, or started to talk about it in January or the summer in this Club World Cup, I mean, none of it makes any sense because there's no room for him to come, right? So why were these conversations being had? They didn't happen. Not with my sourcing. Those conversations that they were implying that Seattle had him with the league or whatever, those were non-existent to my knowledge. So those are the things that we need to shut down. So back to the question from the super chatter, we appreciate that for these two dudes that deserve it. I just think that the Seattle Sounders are always going to be a team that is going to do things very differently, and you got to give them the benefit of the doubt because they've done it the exact same way. The infrastructure's always been the same, and they've been successful with that infrastructure. People talk about the scouting. Why isn't the scouting the same? The scouting team is the same. Sean Henderson's a brilliant individual who has been running this thing since Raul and Niko and all the guys that you guys used to love. He's the same guy now, the same guy that brought you Yamar for a steal, the same guy that brought you JP. It's the same infrastructure. The budget has just changed, and MLS in general has just changed. I was just looking today about when Niko came to the league, the best acquisitions that year were like Tim Howard and like all of these other players that in today's day and age, I mean, it just changed. MLS has evolved, and we need to realize that. And now Seattle is going to have to figure out how they manage that infrastructure to adapt to the new MLS. But again, it is exactly why it's difficult when the team is getting results, because they're showing you that they know what the hell they're doing. So that's all I got for today. I definitely have to get out of here. It is a little bit over an hour, and I appreciate being on with you guys. Definitely follow these guys, help him with the super chat. I will leave you with the Kim Ki-hee thing. Is another one that I have no idea who reported that the deal was done and a whole bunch of lies. All that I said about Kim Ki-hee is that Kim Ki-hee is being targeted by the Sounders as an option to be a veteran CB for 2025. So don't go out there and allow people to just lie to you. As of right now, it's only targeting. Let's leave it at that. If I had seen that there was negotiations and he was on his way on a plane ready to go, I would have worded it that way, and that's not the case. So I'll leave you with that one. Hope you guys have a great rest of your show. Keep it going, guys. I'm a big Lobbing Scorcher guy, man, and Sounder at Heart, of course. Jeremiah Shan is the man. That's my big bro. So love you guys. Take it easy. Love your audience. Check me out on at El Rolo NW. Help me out with some follows at Pulso Sports, please. We need that backup. We're going to be doing a lot more English content. Tomorrow from 3 to 4, I'm going to just do an open space in Twitter. Well, actually, next Friday. I'm sorry. Next Friday, I want to do a open space from 3 to 4 for just you guys to just come on and ask any questions. I want to call it Let It Out Fridays. I have not been able to do it because of just scheduling problems, but I do want to open up my space on Twitter, on X, for an hour for you guys to just Let It Out Friday. Let me know what's up. You guys want to get mad about front office, get mad about a player, you want to know about any other team, talk to me. I'll be there for you guys. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
We'll see you, Nico. Thank you.
Nico. Thank you. All right. So a couple of other things that I wanted to get to, and it looks like I've been trying to line up a guest, and it looks like we got him.
Let's do our promos here quick before we jump into this next segment, if that works
okay,
for
and then
you.
I'll intro him and get him.
Yeah.
On
Give me 1 second here. We'll do a little nice little music here, ladies and gentlemen.
Do the lo-fi.
Little lo-fi music for your lo-fi day. We have to chill. It's in our nature. We have to chill, unfortunately. We're going to start with what we had talked about before. We're raising some money along with Happy Foot Sad Foot. I say we're raising money as if we aren't doing anything other than promoting it, but we would love if you would toss a couple bones, a couple dollars to the Los Angeles Wildfire Relief Fund. Happy Foot Sad Foot, our friends in LA, are hosting this fundraiser. You can scan the QR code or hit the link in the description to go there. It's through GoFundMe, and the money goes directly to the organization that it is being raised for. We would love to help them surpass their goals and do even more. Our other sponsor today, MLS Store. Ari, what's your favorite piece of MLS merch?
Ooh, man. I mean, probably one of those like Kansas City Wizards or Dallas Burn,
like throwback stuff. Yeah. They do have some
what I
sick.
always say.
They have some sick throwback stuff. But if you're looking for any new Sounders gear or just MLS gear in general, obviously a lot of the new jerseys are going to be coming out soon, so that's going to be fun. You can either scan the QR code or click the link in the description below to go shop at MLS Store. We get credit for that. We get some money, helps us fund the show, helps us support the stream. And last but definitely not least, I think I have it here. Wait, subscribe to Sounder at Heart. SounderAtHeart.com/LS. I didn't have time to make a fancy graphic for this one, Ari, so you'll have to chill.
SounderAtHeart.com/LS. If you subscribe to Sounder at Heart using that link, that is really one of, if not the best ways to help out the show and support us. If you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And also, I'm pushing our IG right now. Appreciate everyone who followed after I thirsted for follows on our last show. We actually racked like 50. So we're pushing like 200 IG follows. Get us over 200. If you haven't followed yet. All right. Should we keep this rolling, or was there any more?
Let's keep it rolling. That's good enough.
Okay. Did we lose him?
Oh, looks like it.
All right. We had the guest.
Oh, here we go.
All right, everybody. We are now going to welcome in Brian McKinney from Sounder at Heart. Sounder at Heart writer who wrote an article that it generated a lot of discussion. He made some points that some people agreed with, others didn't. But either way, I read it and I wanted to pick his brain on his thoughts on the discourse, because I thought it was a bit of a different take than people have been throwing around lately, and it generated a lot of discussion. Brian, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you. There
you
you
sound
are.
great.
You sound better than us.
That's nice. I've never used this microphone on my computer before, so I was worried it wouldn't be any good.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us, man. We're excited to
Should I pop up the article?
we're gonna get into this article you wrote for Sounder at Heart real quick. And yeah, Noah, pop it up on the screen here. Or actually, am I able to do that? Or
It'll lag on your thing.
Okay,
so,
all right,
yeah,
all
we'll
right,
just
you
do it. We got to get Arya
We're gonna-
a fancy streaming PC one of these days.
we're gonna get in the weeds here with you, Brian. But first of all, before we get into this, give us a quick nutshell background on like your Sounders fandom and like when it all started for you and how you got this
So I
shared
moved out
obsession
here
that we all
from New
have.
York, 2016. I had a local friend who took me to the Sounders for the first time in 2018, and the first Sounders game I attended was the 2018 Western Conference Final, when the home leg, losing to Portland.
Oof.
In the shootout, where people didn't know the home and away goal rule, the craziness there, and I fell in love with it from that. It was a great time, and it was a really important way for moving so far from home, in terms of meeting people and feeling like Seattle is home now. Haven't been here 9 years now. I moved at the very end of 2016. Yeah, so it's been just past 9 years.
Moved at a great time. 2016, what a year for the club.
Yeah.
That was a great time to come into it. All right, well, let's talk about this Sounder at Heart article that you wrote, which is titled "Craig Waibel is cooking. You just have bad taste," which coming in hot with the title.
Yeah.
But you know, when I read it, it's sort of how I think this could have been called like Craig Waibel is doing better than people think, is sort of the thesis.
That's
or
not-
I
the-
think he's been doing phenomenal work. I
So
think
you
the
make a
roster
case
is
that he's
good.
been doing phenomenal work, which is not the pervasive narrative going on in at least in a segment of Sounders fandom right now. So first of all, like what about that discourse kind of inspired you to write this piece? Because you went in hard. This thing is like a couple thousand words.
I've gotten tired of a certain set of narratives that keep coming back around. And I think they're not entirely based in looking at the reality of the situation, right? Like I said, I'm from the East Coast. My dad's from Philadelphia. I know what it's like to watch bad sports teams. Seattle Sounders is the one sports team I picked up out here. I watch teams lose the vast majority of the time. And I don't know if we're acknowledging how good the players we have are, how much they have done, and how good this team is consistently in a league that is set up to make it impossible to be consistently good. And at some point, you have to look at that and you have to say, well, they're doing something right. Yet it seems like we look at it, so many fans of the Sounders look at it and say, but they're doing something wrong, and it drives me up the wall.
Yeah, I mean, okay, Noah, why don't you scroll down a little bit here? Okay, what I wanted to start with you here is this part at the beginning about the Waibel method versus the Garth method, because I think what sort of happened here is that there's been a bit of a philosophical kind of change in how the club has gone about building their rosters. And I think a lot of people prefer a different method of roster building. What how would you characterize the difference in what you've called the Waibel method versus the Garth method?
Well, I think that there's a lot of philosophical things that transfer over that I think are also organizational, right? I was listening a little bit before I logged on that obviously the Sounders want to limit that downside. They want to limit that risk. They did under Garth, and they still do under Waibel. And there's a lot of things that Waibel's doing that are because Garth invested in the academy, or because he invested in youth that Waibel's able to do these things, right? However, with how the actual roster is structured in terms of how resources are distributed, this last year, only one team got more minutes out of their supplemental roster than the Sounders, right? Those are players coming out of the academy. That's Jackson Reagan. I think he was on the supplemental roster for sure. Obed Vargas. And they're getting high-level production out of these players. Okay. And then in terms of the middle of the roster, Garth would talk about when he was here, they built teams for the playoffs, right? Get everybody healthy, get them firing, put all the talent into that starting 11. Well, as Niko was saying before, depending on how they line up this team next year, you look at it and you go, well, there's one really good player who's not going to be in the starting 11. That's not a Garth move, right? That's not a get all the talent in the starting 11, make sure that when the playoffs come, we are the best team we can be. That is we need to be deep. They're going to play maybe 50 games next year between Club World Cup, CCL, maybe, God forbid, MLS puts them in the freaking Leagues Cup, which would be ridiculous, but they might do it. They're going to play so many games, right? People need the rest. They're going to play 2 games a week, more weeks than not. They need to have good players come off the bench. They need to be able to rotate, right? This league is a weird soccer league, okay? Everywhere else in the world, we talk about ceilings and floors, very American sports terminology. Everywhere else in the world, they're measured on a table, and your goal is not to get your ceiling to X place. You want your floor to be above everybody else's ceiling because that's how you know you're going to win, right? To do that, to have the consistency that the Sounders can finish top 4 every year so they can get good home playoff seating, so that they're not doing what happened in 2022 where you get everybody healthy and you can go on a run for 10 games in CCL and then Nuhu's injured in the final. Joao Paulo is injured in the final. They brought a 16-year-old off the bench in the biggest game in club history, and Obed was incredible, right? But today, Obed's the starter. If he gets hurt, Joao Paulo comes off the bench. Atencio comes off the bench. That's a world of difference in terms of the financial resources they're putting in to have that level of depth and the quality of that depth, the experience of that depth.
Great stuff. Thank you for the insight there. The next point I wanted to hit with you here, this is the one that got me thinking the most about, which is the part about Jesús Ferreira and this signing and the reaction to it. I think you have a line there that's like if his name was pronounced, what is this?
Jesus, that's the Portuguese pronunciation.
Yeah,
Jesus.
the Portuguese pronunciation instead of Jesus, the reaction would be very different, or as you put it, we would not be having this conversation. That's a point that we've kind of made in different words on this show before already. But what I thought was interesting here is the comparison that you made with FC Cincinnati signing Kevin Denke, I believe his name is.
Yeah.
And as you pointed out, FC Cincinnati is being hailed far and wide nationally for the ambition of this signing, huge transfer fee, Golden Boot winner in the Belgian league. Now, the difference in how this is received compared to Jesús Ferreira, who people are citing as an example of Seattle being, unambitious. Well, the Belgian league, where this guy Kevin Denke is coming from for this massive transfer fee, it's wherever you personally rate any of these leagues, it's not meaningfully better or worse than MLS. I think it's roughly the same tier of league. And actually, as you point out, two of the last Golden Boot winners from Belgium have come to this league in the last 2 years, and neither of them have done very well.
Kuipers has been
and
fine.
Hugo Kuipers.
Yeah, Kuipers has been fine. Lewis Morgan it's Van Zier over at New York Red Bulls. He's been awful. He scored 6 goals in like 50 games. I can't remember what the stat is, but he's been awful. And it's not just 2 of the last 2 Golden Boot winners. It's the last 2. Like winning the Golden Boot in Belgium is like a free ticket to MLS. Like you win the Golden Boot, they hand you a ticket. It's a direct line. They all come here, and most of them haven't been that good.
Yeah, and like you could really argue that moving a player within MLS that already has a track record like Jesus Ferreira, it's arguably a higher percentage move, but like the way that it gets perceived is so different. And I thought it was funny how this example,
right? This is a bizarre MLS thing. Okay, go to any given league in the world, maybe not the Premier League where they're taking from every other league in the world because they are the Super League, right? We already have a Super League for soccer. It's the Premier League. Any other league than that, the biggest source of talent for that league is from within its league, right? You go look at Germany. Where are Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund? How have they become so dominant? Well, they go and they raid the clubs within their own league, within their own country for their best talent, right? Who want to go to a place where they can win, that has a higher reputation, where they believe they're going to get the best training resources, play in front of more fans and be whatever, right? They go steal the best from within their own country because you know that they know the league. You get all the advantages, right? Just like in MLS where we have international slots. And I'd love to talk about that because the way Waibel uses them is very interesting. I had to cut a chunk on it. Because I already, as you pointed out, was thousands of words into this. But they get them to come. There's all sorts of advantages towards staying in your own league. And if there's a meta in world football, it's to dominate your own league and take your own best talent from within that league because it strengthens you, it weakens your opposition, and it makes sure that you have the highest chance of succeeding. If Liverpool goes out and actually does sign Anthony Robinson, right? Nobody in England is going to be saying, "Oh, low ambition." We've seen him before, right? Because he plays already in England. Nobody's going to say that, right? They raid from within their own league. MLS is a top 10 league in the world, maybe a little below, maybe a little
10
above,
to 15, I think is fair.
Sorry?
Top 10 to 15, I think is fair.
Yeah. It's almost impossible to actually get an accurate estimate, but it's in that range, right? There's good talent here. And being able to get that talent is good. And you get advantages for staying within your own league.
We got Brian McKinney from Sounder at Heart here talking about his recent article on Craig Waibel. Brian, I just got one more for you, and then we'll get you out of here. Thank you so much for the time. I guess just give us your based on how this offseason has gone with the Ferreira edition, and now the news that our Rusnak is back. As you say in the piece, it's the biggest year probably in club history, given all the competitions they're in, and playing in the Club World Cup. How do you size up the team after this offseason, and what are your expectations for the upcoming season here?
Best in the West.
Best
Without
in the
a
West?
doubt. I think this roster is the best in the West. I mean, we still got a couple more weeks in preseason, or in preseason, and the window's going to be open for a while. LAFC might still add some players. LA Galaxy has been ripped apart, right? They lost Puig is going to be out for the whole year. They lost Brugman. They
Jalen
lost Neal, which is their best backup center back. I mean, we talk about re-signing old players. Their starting center back's 36 years old. So, and then RSL is not a team anymore, right? RSL has lost Arango. RSL is completely decimated. Houston has gotten worse, and the Sounders have gotten better. Everybody who finished in the top 5 last year in the West got worse. We got better. I think only 2 teams are clearly better than the Sounders in the whole league. That's Miami and Columbus. And let's see if Nance and Chicho are even going to, Cucho are even going to be here at the end of the offseason.
Brian, that's all we got for you. Thank you again so much for the time and coming on to talk about this this article with us. It was a good read. It was an interesting read. I would encourage everyone, even if you don't necessarily agree with all the points laid out, they're at least well thought out and they're well supported. Yeah, thanks again, Brian, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Have a good one,
Appreciate
man.
it, Brian.
All right, that was Brian McKinney from Sounder at Heart talking about his Craig Waibel is cooking. You just have bad taste article. Again, I think, Noah, you threw the link in chat, right?
Yep,
so you can
it's
go
in the
check
chat.
it out at
sounderheart.com/ls if you. It's a subscriber only piece. So
okay, so no, are you down to hang out for a little bit?
I'm around, man.
You're around. All right,
Yeah.
because there was a couple more things I wanted to get to on this show. Let's talk about Kim Ki-hee real quick because you were popping off in my DMs about it today.
We were chatting.
We'll
briefly.
we'll hit Kim Ki-hee and Chicho Arango, and then guys, what I wanted to do is go through this. We'll see. I don't know if we're going to make it through the whole video tonight, but this video that's been going around of the compilation of Jesus Ferreira's all 50 goals when he scored his 50th MLS goal. I wanted to go through at least some of those and just kind of break down the goals and talk about like the type of stuff he's going to bring to the team tactically and type of skill set he has. So yeah, let's do that after we hit on Kim Ki-hee, as Niko mentioned, is reportedly a target for the Sounders.
Just a target.
Don't
target. Get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted. He's not been signed yet. There's no offer being made to our knowledge, but he's definitely a target, and it's possible that this could happen. I personally don't really care about the 5th center back, but Noah and you seemed to. What were your thoughts on this?
Well, it wasn't that I was like super being realistic about it. I just thought it was funny that it's just funny to bring back a guy who's like basically should be a veteran and has AARP benefits to be your 5th center back when you re-sign like JP.
Well, it is okay. So I'll admit that it is funny that in this whole offseason where I think we both like the moves that are being made, but like optically for it
plays into the narrative.
It's given a lot of fuel to the the narratives, and so like this coming out on the heels of all that, I won't deny the comedy. In terms of like the actual roster implications, I mean, you have Reagan and Yamar as your no doubt about it first choice starters. You have Atencio, who they said they're going to give some run there next year, and you're also developing Stu Hawkins. So,
but he'll probably get loaned out. To be honest,
yeah, Stu Hawkins probably going to get loaned out. But as far as like we were talking about if this should have gone to a developmental spot, I mean, you sort of have 2 developmental projects in the position group there.
It just depends. Are they playing 3 in the back? Are they playing 4?
Yeah.
Like I don't hate the move on just like a supplemental depth piece, like what is it, veteran minimum, or like you know what I'm talking about, whatever contract thing that is. Senior minimum contract that's basically costing you nothing. It's a veteran that you bring in who's been here before, who clearly likes the city
and played well, to be fair.
Last year he played well in the league that he was playing in.
Yeah.
So it's like I won't even deny that. It just like it is a little bit needling. Like
It's the
I've been
principle.
saying,
Yeah.
like I don't hate the whole moves and the whole club and all of the things that are going on in principle. It's just that like it's a little needling, you know, like
I'm not needled about it.
Brandon
but
Vasquez, Kim Kee-hee, you know, like just
to me, the only reason
when are we gonna eat,
to
Ari?
me, the only reason to be needled about it would be if he was getting brought in as a starter.
Yeah,
But,
which
like,
he's not.
as CB5. I think it's a fine
Yeah,
move.
whatever.
Is he better than Nathan? I don't. I mean, I think that's kind of a wash, to be honest. I haven't
Who
watched.
knows?
Yeah, who knows? We haven't watched Kim Kee-hee play in a few years. But if he's roughly a similar player to what he was the last time he was in Seattle, then I think him and Nathan is pretty much a wash, man. Like I don't think there's like a big quality differential there. And I think Nathan was on a big number last year. Kim Kee-hee won't be.
I will say, like, I am a little bit sad that Nathan didn't come back, even if on a cheaper number or something. Like, I really did like what I was able to see from him in the 5 to 10 minutes that he did play.
Won't be the first time former Sounder returned to be depth pieces. Yeah, I mean, what was the most? Freddie Montero came back.
Hated that move, by the way.
That actually cooked the first year. It did. He was scoring goals against the Timbers, and he had a pretty good year. And then the last year, he started chilling crypto.
I think he was shilling crypto the whole time.
All right, before we do these Ferreira highlights, one league-wide headline that we should talk about: Chicho Arango has been sent from Real Salt Lake to the San Jose Earthquakes for 1.5 million of GAM in an international spot. So
is that cheap?
That is cheaper than I would have thought. And I like to the point where it kind of raised some eyebrows because of how well thought of Chicho Arango is in the league, just as far as like what type of player he's been, how productive he's been. He fell off a cliff last year.
Yeah, he turned into a bot.
He was literally looking like the MVP of the league for a couple months, and then he scored like 1 goal in like a lot of months.
They inducted him into the Mormon church and he was gone.
And they cratered after he cratered. Their team was very reliant on him. So, but that's why I don't know. Maybe that's why the Quakes got him on a discount here. But I think that's a good move for them, man. Like that's not all that much GAM for a player that's provenly been a like 15 plus goal scorer in the league. He is going so he went from LAFC, which is one of the best teams in the league, to Real Salt Lake, which is like
they were on the up on team last year. Yeah.
And now he's going to the the wooden spoon winners. But they do, like, the Quakes weirdly have, like, Christian Espinoza is not a bad player. And they have like
they're spending money.
Players, so, but I don't think this puts the Quakes in a playoff contention necessarily. But now they got Bruce Arena, they got Chicho Arango, I guess,
and they have a new way to beat the Sounders.
Do you want to do the obligatory? The Sounders should have
signed Chicho, especially if it's Tam or Gam or Am or Sam or Am. Yeah, they should have. What are they doing? Craig Waibel, you're fired.
Chicho, would you want Chicho or Ferreira?
I mean, that's a dumbass question.
No,
of course I want Ferreira.
Okay.
Yeah, what?
I mean,
I've been saying that I would have taken Ferreira on a DP deal. And like to hear that he has escalators in his contract, if he's happy staying here, I'm not going to complain.
We've got a heater from Steven Nestor. Unrelated hot take. Sounders' biggest outgoing transfer in 2025 will be Georgie to a team in France after he impresses in the Club World Cup.
Ooh, prediction. Lock it in.
All right, I've been looking forward to this. So let's watch some Jesus Ferreira highlights. If you want to
we're loading.
Pull up that goal. I guess I'll just like direct you on because I wanted to like stop some of them and like, break them down.
We're really gonna watch 50 goals here?
No, we're not. We don't.
Okay.
I was originally planning on doing all 50, but
only if you commentate over it.
Well, yeah, no, like
you'll be like the play-by-play guy.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm working on it.
Okay, Noah's working on pulling up the video. This is just a video that MLS put out when he scored his 50th career.
I was at this first game, by the way. I just wanted to know
you saw that. So
you can see me.
I figured we could go through some of these and just break down his skill set, break down what he's going to bring to the team. Chris Winslow with the super chat. Thank you so much, man.
Hey, Chris.
Thanks for the content, guys. Hope LA bounces back quick so I can go back to hating their teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Donate to Happy Foot, Sad Foot, please.
Yep.
Um,
I'm gonna play a little bit of music so that
oh yeah,
we don't
get
get.
the lo-fi. Oh yeah, get the lo-fi going. Get the lo-fi going. The vibe.
Let us know if it's a little too high, but this seems like it would be okay.
All right. So I mean, should we just start from?
We'll start ripping.
All right. This is his first MLS.
Michael Barrios with the cross. Jesús Ferreira. Goal, 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 goal.
Main thing
I'm right there on the left, by the way.
The main thing I noticed from this one is look how young he looks.
Dude, he's still young.
Well, but he's like 16 in this
Yeah.
clip. But so this actually, if you can pause it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know
Oh, no,
we were
you're good.
pausing.
So that actually was one example of one of the skills he brings to the table, which is if you go through this video, there's a lot where when the service comes into the box, he's really good at his first touch is very good. He's very good at controlling the ball and in a way that sets himself up for the shot. And then he's dead accurate. You saw it on his very first MLS goal, and you'll see like a lot of goals like that where he sets himself up after the service comes in. He can finish him first time too. But that is one thing he brings to the table.
Should we play this at like double speed or I don't know?
Why? Yeah, why is it going so slow?
Hey, this is produced by the MLS overlords. You should know.
When I was watching it earlier, it seemed good.
No, it's still good. Is this a pickoff? Yeah. Oh, that was nice.
Oh yeah,
Michael
this
Barrios, bro. Can we
Barrios
talk
combination.
about?
Okay, so the other thing.
Imagine that's Paul Rothrock.
The other thing I wanted you guys to pay attention to with these is his soccer IQ. Okay, he's a very, very smart forward. Like his movement in the box and the runs he makes, the timing and everything that goes into setting himself up with a high percentage chance, he does very well.
Unfortunately, that last goal didn't count because against RSL and there was a red card. So,
oh god,
yeah.
damn it!
And now it doesn't count either. It was against Brad Guzan. So
there's a lot too of him finishing counterattacks, which I'm sure we'll see a couple.
Paxton Pomako, where's he at now?
He's still on FC Dallas.
Oh, he is?
Yeah,
that's funny.
He's still grinding.
Respect to the kid, Paxi.
He's gotten injured a lot, unfortunately. Good player. So yeah, here's another that he's not bad in the air actually. Like there's a few headers.
I mean, that was terrible
here.
defending, let's be honest.
So okay, I was gonna bring that up. There's a handful of these that are like classic MLS defense.
Yeah, that was MLS
goals.
defense.
You'll see those. I don't really want to hear about it. That's like, a cumulative 30 seconds of
that was a nice setup right there.
Oh, this is against the wrestling enthusiasts.
Yeah, but did you see his movement on that? That was crazy.
That was good defending.
No, that was a great goal. From the start,
Yeah,
he
no.
makes a great play. He's a great facilitator too. I think that's the interesting part about him. His he reminds me, okay, this is a stupid comparison, but he reminds me of Paul Rothrock in his he thinks a step ahead. Like he's making the pass and then already
yes
into that space.
Yeah. Okay, this one is sick. Watch how he skins this guy.
See you, buddy.
Whoop.
And it's against Houston, rivalry game.
He ended that man's career. There's also another one.
I was also at that game.
You were at this game?
Yep.
Wow, where are you? I don't see you on the feed. Michael Barrios used to torch the Sounders, and this is kind of giving me a flashback.
Michael Barrios was really good for a long time.
There is a distance finish right there against the wrestling enthusiasts. A few of these come from outside the box, which there's when I was watching this video earlier today, I don't want to make a comparison that's going to get me yelled at, but there's some Rui Diaz in him, man. They're like in terms of his finishing, and I'll point out when I see a Rui Diaz-esque goal, I'll point that out.
I mean, I think the whole thing is like he's great in small space. He's great when he doesn't always have the best pass. He is a great finisher. Like he is one of the better finishers in the league. I truly believe that. Like maybe call me crazy, but like he cooks, man. He's good.
Yeah, no, I really think I think you guys are gonna like watching this guy play. Man.
If you can stay healthy.
I really do. Yeah, I mean, but you could say that for anyone.
True.
Another one from outside the box.
Sporting Kansas City doesn't count.
Yeah, this was 6-0, but that is a clinical finish. And Craig Waibel also talked about it in the presser. He actually said what I've been saying, which is that he feels like they need to be less nice. Did you catch that quote?
I did,
That's my take. I've been saying that, and I think Ferreira does bring.
He
a little
listens
bit
to
of
the
that.
pod. You know
I think
that.
he listens to the pod. This is a Rui Diaz type goal. He,
How's his defense?
What number will he be? 9? Oh, that is a good question, actually. I don't know.
Maybe.
Won't be 10.
Won't be 10. I mean, 9 would make sense. It's open. Michael Barrios. Backheel Barrios.
That is a great goal.
Mhm.
I mean, so that's the type of stuff that peak Rui Diaz would do inside the box. Jesus Ferreira can they with Rui Diaz falling off the cliff last year, like they didn't have that, you know. So that's hopefully will provide just more of that ruthlessness in the box.
That was nasty. See ya, buddy.
Yeah, 2 guys
Swooped
right
that.
there. Are they going to replay that, or can you play that one again?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and they'll probably replay it.
They don't replay all of them.
They got to replay that one. Oh, was this COVID year?
There's some from COVID year, yeah.
Doesn't count COVID year. Oh, God damn it. MLSsoccer.com. What are we doing? Look at this. See you, buddy. Where are you going?
That guy's gone.
Are you lost?
That guy's gone. His career's over.
Are you lost?
And then
Oh, see you, buddy.
this guy's career ends too.
He's gone. You're lost. Roof.
That was. He eliminated not 1 but 2 guys there.
Yeah. And then hit him with the horns down. Clearly not a Texas fan. All right, what else do we got here?
Ooh, COVID year.
Oh. Man, he's so good in space. It's ridiculous. I think that's something that Jordan Morris kind of misses is he'll bully you off the ball and he's just going to beat you in pace. Jesus Ferreira is one of those guys who just he sees the game so much differently and he's going to create that space. And I think them playing off of each other is this perfect combo because when you have a player, even if you have Paul Rothrock playing, Paul Rothrock would sometimes get frustrated with Jordan because he wasn't making the same run that was in his mind. And if I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh my God, Jordan, Paul, and Jesus together.
Can you play this one again?
Nasty. Yeah.
So this one is a good example of how he can finish on the counter, but look, he's basically dead sprint right there.
Yeah.
And he's still not
and
only
it's
gets
against
on
Portland.
target, but
This
cashes
one does
that.
count.
And that's against Portland, so it counts too.
Yep.
But I think he's going to score plenty of goals like that, where when they're in transition and the service comes in like that, he can cash those. Like I said, either control it to himself and shoot it and cash it, or first time it like he did on that one.
Yeah.
This is another one against Portland.
He has more hat tricks against Portland than Portland has hat tricks against the league. That's what someone said. I don't know if we fact checked that, but I don't need to fact check it.
Portland has never had a hat trick. That's a crazy stat.
Oh, so there you go.
No, yeah.
Yep.
So
he's had more hat tricks against Portland than Portland has had against the league.
I can't believe they had Diego Valeri for years. He never had a hat trick.
Banger hat trick.
Oh yeah, this was a hattie. This is a hattie against Portland. He could be a Timbers killer, guys. He could be.
I love him. I love his attitude. I've always loved Jesus Ferreira. I told you people, I said, I don't even give a shit if he's a DP. I love this move.
He is fun to watch. And I really think that once people get past the fact that he came from another MLS team and they see
but the people who are saying that are just stupid. Can we just be honest? There are definitely players where I'm like, okay, that is an interleague transfer that is uninteresting and really dumb. This is a player who mustered a transfer fee of $14 million.
I forgot he was a best 11 forward in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And best 11, that's literally the other guys that are on that are Haney Mukhtar and Carlos Vela.
Yeah.
He was literally to get to best 11, you need to be considered in that tier. So I don't know if he's going to be in that tier for Seattle, but he has at one point in his career been at that tier.
He's nasty. How many goals I'm looking up how many goals he has for. Okay, I'm sorry. Transfer Market has his value at $5 million. That's fire. That's pretty damn good. 15 goals for the U.S. men's national team.
15 and 23 caps.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, people, they don't count because they were all against
Yeah, they were against.
Although he scored one against Mexico, assisted by Jordan, actually.
I remember that.
Yeah. But I guess that doesn't count either. Here's when he bammed on the Sounders. We all remember this fondly.
I hated these kids
Yeah,
so much. There's Kim Ki-hee. There's Kim Ki-hee.
I don't know if I remember this game.
Kim Ki-hee literally let this goal in. Okay, this is why I don't want him on the club. Do you see this? Look at this guy right here. What is this guy doing? What is he doing? Paxton Pomacall is about to bam on you. What are you even doing there?
He dummied.
That's the slowest dummy I've ever seen in the world. Look at this. Okay, but look at. Is this Nuhu? That's Nuhu. Look what Nuhu's just leaving all that space.
All right, we don't need to break down Seattle's defensive breakdowns on the Ferreira goal.
Is that Jackson Reagan?
No.
Just kidding.
Oh, I see. You're doing a bit.
Doing a bit.
Okay, yeah. Bammed on Seattle. Oh, there's Franco Jara. That was a good signing by them. Jara, sorry.
Is Barrios still playing on this team? Goddamn.
God, those like that 2015 playoffs.
Oh,
series,
Jordan Morris-esque goal.
That's what I was just gonna say. I think there's some coming up where
dude, the just absolute trolling too.
That was a good goal. I missed this iteration of the LA Galaxy so much.
Hey, and look, there's the other sounder. There's the other sounder.
Hey, there he is.
Sounders boys.
The new duo. Happy foot, sad foot. We love you.
Oops, I didn't mean to pause it. Hey, this is a good time to remind people. Wait, I can just pop this up. I'm so good at this.
Oh, watch this. We're gonna have to play that one again.
Okay, I'm rolling it back. Wait, take their damn comment off. There we go. Now we've got every QR code possible. How many back are we going? Oh, there's this free kick.
This free kick. So this was
Messi.
You can see Maxime Crepeau get caught out right there. They executed the little the deke on that set piece really well. But his free kicks, I think there's a couple other free kicks on here. He's not. I don't think he's as good as Rusnak at him, but I mean that's a nice hit.
I mean that's pretty nasty.
Yeah. Who's faster, Jordan or Jesus? I don't know. You'd have to ask them that.
Probably Georgie. This is crazy. What if he scores 25 this season?
I don't think. I mean, God, this will look funny if he just totally busts. But I don't think I think 15 to 20 is within the
total contribs or.
I was thinking in league play, but okay. So here I'll make a bold prediction for him, which is that I think playing on this team, we're gonna see his assist numbers go up. I think that he could log double-digit assists on this team. That's what I'm hoping, at least.
Is the areola part of the nipple or technically something else? It's the outside. It's the meat part, not the tip part. Hopefully that helps. That should have been a super chat, though.
Yeah,
I'm only reading that as a super chat next time.
Can you make this?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, there we go. 12 of his 15 international goals. Oh, here we go. 12 of his 15 international goals are against Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yeah. So that's the whole.
Okay, but here's the thing: you're chatting like that, but you would score 0 goals against any of those clubs. And why does your God King Christian Pulisic not have that many against them? So I don't want to hear it.
I think
because he's a bum. Christian Pulisic's a bum. I'm just gonna say it. This is why I'm a Canada fan.
It's a Canada-friendly show. I think this was a sick one. Oh wait, no, not really. That's pretty bad.
I mean, okay, but like Jordan would have fallen over there, so he's got better balance.
You gotta give him credit for capitalizing on the gifts that he got given. at
God
points
gives
during
Jesus
these.
gifts.
Exactly.
Okay, so he can bless upon us.
Sorry to hear that, Zach. Thank you for donating.
Zach, we appreciate it. Hopefully you're safe. Much love to you and your family.
Noah, are you serious or are you trolling about Pulisic?
I'm never joke. I never joke. How many chances has Jesus had against better teams than that, though? I'm genuinely not sure, but seems like he's good at scoring against the teams he's up against.
That's what even in his FC Dallas days. Yeah, that was a sick shot by Velasco. I kind of pointed out the same thing. Like that, those are the games he was playing in. Also, like there was a game where he was playing against Mexico and he scored. You know, like I don't know. It's just like that. Once a narrative takes hold, like you can't. It's like a snowball going down a hill. You can't stop it.
Yeah, exactly.
But frankly, like the national team stuff, like it's been way too big.
Wait, what happened? Did we get clapped?
Did we?
Did we get clapped?
Oh no!
Damn, we got copied. We got clapped.
No! What? Damn it! Can you guys see us now?
Probably not. Let me look. We may have to stop and start again.
No! I probably should have known that was going to happen.
Stream suspended for policy violations. Wait, hold on. Let's just... We're going to have to end it and start it again.